Allah says, I will continue to forgive for as long as my worshipper continues to seek forgiveness. Did you hear that? I will continue to forgive for as long as my worshipper continues to seek forgiveness. So keep seeking forgiveness and be convinced that Allah has forgiven you every time. Never does Allah say, I reject forgiveness when someone asks for it. Never does He say, I don't want to forgive. No, He always forgives. You need to know that. For as long as you have admitted your sin, you regret it, you seek His forgiveness, and you promise Him not to do it again. At the moment, I promised Allah I'm not going to do it again, and I believed I wouldn't. Somewhere down the line, I repeated it. I need to go back again, seek the same forgiveness, and I'll be forgiven again and again. And if it happens a third time, a third and a fourth, until a time comes when Allah calls out to the angels, do you see my worshipper? He keeps seeking my forgiveness because alima abdi anna lahu rabban ya'khudhu bidh-dhanbi wa yaghfiruh ushhidukum anni ghafartu lah. My slave now knows that he has a Lord who can either forgive him or punish him. That's why he keeps seeking my forgiveness. I want you to bear witness that I have totally forgiven him completely. Mercy of Allah. Keep repenting to Allah. No matter what you've done and how many times it's been repeated. But when you seek the forgiveness, make sure you're genuinely saying, I'm not going to repeat this again. May Allah strengthen us so that we can fulfill that promise unto Allah. So this Adam alayhi salam, he happened to sin. When he sinned, immediately his body, his private parts began to become exposed. They were covered in a way Allah knows best by his own body. And thereafter, he became ashamed of himself. They quickly took leaves of the trees in order to cover themselves. Because when a person sins, my brothers and sisters, they're automatically conscious of whether someone's watched them or not. If they have belief in them and they have a slight consciousness of Allah, they will never commit a sin openly and publicly. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ says, people will continue to be upon goodness for as long as they don't openly and proudly sin. That's why when someone sins behind closed doors, it's bad enough, but it's not as bad as a person who sinned openly out in the public. You remember this, because it's part of your nature. What made you sin privately? Because you're a believer. That's why I sinned behind closed doors. I didn't want to sin openly because I don't want to encourage others to sin. I'm sinning behind closed doors. And I know it's bad and I know I'm not supposed to. But you know what? Because I'm conscious of Allah. And yes, I don't want others to think bad. I'm a believer. If you're not a believer, you wouldn't even bother. That's why the hadith says, إِذَا سَرَّتْكَ حَسَنَتُكَ وَسَاءَتْكَ سَيِّئَتُكَ فَأَنْتَ مُؤْمِنٌ. If your good deed makes you feel happy and your bad deed makes you regret, then that's a sign that you're a true believer. We all commit bad deeds, all of us, to different levels. No one can say, I don't. No one can say, I'm spotless, sinless. No one can say, I've never done something wrong. Every one of us, myself included, we do things sometimes that we would be embarrassed of had these things been exposed. But different levels. Some people do major things. Some people do minor things. But no one wants to be exposed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep covering